All right, everyone, you made it to the end, to the season finale, if I can say that. Does this give much deeper appreciation for our king? And I don't mean that just in a throwaway comment. I really mean that, truly, I don't think we'll have eternity to figure out truly what this meant for the king from his viewpoint. But messages like this really give you a peek behind the curtain as it is. It is a peek behind the curtain. It's not all encompassing, but even those peaks, man, I know in putting the message together, it's so humbling. It's so humbling. You're not worthy of the message. You're not worthy of the words. You're not none of it. And, yeah, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Hopefully now as well, the importance of a statement like get rid of the leaven means so much more now. It's not just a quip. It's like, if we do get rid of the leaven and we can just get rid of this whitewashing, we'll actually begin to know the heart and soul of our king. That's how, it's deep. It's deep.
We're on the lead up to Unleavened, and we're in the final throes of the pruning season. And all these messages before and we're coming to the end of the age, and all the messages that we're doing that we'd really consider, we're heading for the week of Unleavened and the Pesach meal. And our Elohim is screaming at us, stop your cheating ways. All of you. You're all cheating on me spiritually. It's serious. And we have the power of the Ruach now to live this Moedim in a living way. And this is why I say, if you think it's about getting your frozen bread out of the freezer before the clock strikes, we've missed the plot. We are the adulterous wife, spiritually. We want to justify and hang on to our cheating ways at all costs. And all of us have our different variations of it. Everyone struggles with it one way or another, and we'll justify, and we'll have our little arguments and our little moments of self-righteousness and point the finger at others and do all this kind of stuff. But will we actually look in our own house and actually know that he's looked at us and said, will you stop this? Curtis, Michael, insert your name. Will you? Not them. There's no room for themitis in the week of unleavened bread. Themitis will entertain the rest of the year as we're fallen. But let us not entertain it now. It's in us. It's got to go. We're in the fiery furnace, the valley of the shadow of death, for a reason. It might be Havel, but oh, is it significant in its eternal, weighty matter. And some of us here gathered today are getting eyes and ears to finally hear this, right as we get to the end of the age, because of the favor of Elohim on our lives. So we vomit at each other, and we help each other clean it up and get our garments prepared. The physical journey's easy. The spiritual one that one's really serious. Oh, Michael, I overcame watching sports. Meanwhile, they're busy causing nothing but division and hurt with their brothers and sisters in the body of Messiah. But I don't watch Friday night football anymore or Saturday night ice hockey. I've got that one done. Look how good I am. Look at me, Messiah. I overcame my sports addiction. That's what we're going to present to him. The valley of shadow of death, you will surely die. And any possible struggle you've had in the flesh is going to die and gone anyway. But you completely ignored. We completely ignored the reason for it. And that was that we would stop spiritually whoring around. What a mistake it would be to focus on the flesh right now. That'll take care of itself in the end. He's actually assured that in a real final. Doesn't mean we can't be happy when we don't overcome things in the flesh. It's always nice. But that's not the driver of the faith. That should be the outcome of it, not the pursuit. We are trying to pursue and fix things of the flesh, and we are being duped. Pursue Messiah, pursue the weightier matters and what this is all about. And those things of the flesh are going to start to let go. Our flesh is very, very attached to the spiritual weighty matters or the flesh matters. Your life will let you know which one it is. What do you focus on all day, all week, all month, all year? What really is driving your thoughts? Is it what we look like to him? Or is it what we look like to ourselves and others that becomes more important? Have we become the whitewashed tombs? What a time to think about it. And he gives us a chance every year to do that. Why? Because it's not necessary or because it is? Michael and I have learned that it is necessary. We've learned that this is a living, appointed time. And it has meaning, significance, and weight for which should not escape us. Or we'll just hide behind them and get back to them-itis. Shoot the messenger. Why don't we shoot Michael for the message today? Because our flesh doesn't like it. Let's just shoot him. Let's just get rid of him. In fact, if we get rid of Michael, then all of this goes away, right? Let's just get rid of the message today. Don't listen to it. And then none of it matters, right? This is what we do. All of us are guilty in some way, shape, or form. None are innocent. The good news is we're all in the guilty boat together. We're all in the fiery furnace together. So you can look around, you can look at your brothers and sisters and go, you are guilty. And then you got to look at yourself first before you say that. I am guilty. Then suddenly we can't be hypocrites. This is what Messiah was very upset with what the Pharisees had done almost 2,000 years ago with the faith. Everyone else is guilty but you guys. Is that so? Really? I tell you the truth, not one stone will be left upon another. we've discovered best to realize and admit our guilt than to not have one stone left upon another. If we are the temple now, we don't want that judgment on our own lives. By the way, what I just said is deep. We'll talk about it in the Pesach message. What does it look like to have our temple judged? Oh, that was just the bad Pharisees and Sadducees. Really? Who here is excited about the Pesach message? Some people actually put their hands up. What a community. It's such a difficult time of the year to share and to teach, I can tell you, honestly. Because you're absolutely sharing something from the guilty perspective. It's just brutal. It's just brutal. It's much easier to teach other times of the year. This is a difficult time. It really is. Yet, it is a beautiful time.
Yeah.
You get it.
Thing is, you can only speak to, it's the biblical pattern. It's judgment, then hope. Judgment, restoration, repent, good stuff, right? And you see it in the prophets, and that's why, this series, we finished on 2 awesome, what people would, this is the good stuff, so to speak, but you have to go through the journey of the foundational steps, which are repent, for the kingdom is at hand. And, for those of you that have persevered through the series, this, then we can look at these things. And I think y'all does it that way on purpose. It's like, will you be willing to look at self? Because if you are, let me give you some hope, some confident expectation.
Deborah's asked an excellent question that gets answered at Sukkot this year, by the way. Nice question, Deborah. Well done. Not that the other questions won't be good too, but it's just you've actually answered something that hopefully this Sukkot we're going to address, because these are the things we got to think about, because it all affects this thing that we're in right now.
Oh yeah, I'm reading the question.
I'll just say to you, we think you have a Messiah that asked that exact same question, and you're actually living the answer.
Well, since we're on that, Deborah, I'm going to ask you to come on. We'll get you to jump ahead the pack because Curtis spotted your question. So, yeah.
Hello.
Sorry, bad boy. Bad donkey. What a question, Deborah. You're asking that. It's like, well, what if there was a creator that asked that same question? Something happened before the time domain.
For those of you who maybe, I'll just read Deborah's comment. I'm just a bit confused that if there is free will, there is a chance for pride and self to creep in. And if you can have pride and self in the glorified state, then what's stopping it from happening again with his bride? I mean, it's already happened with Satan, right? Satan loved him once and wanted more. And if our Father is all-knowing, he would know already if his bride would betray him. So why the test?
He says he knows the beginning from the end, Deborah. Is this your question? Is this actually your question?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. He says he knows the beginning from the end. That's a statement of time. That's not a statement of eternity.
Eh?
There's a big thing to get there right up front. Again, we'll talk about this at Sukkot. He knows the beginning from the end. That's not an eternal statement. It's a fiery furnace statement. So this is where it gets interesting now. It's like, wow, those are all great questions. Well, what's his options? Why don't we make you an AI creation? And you're just programmed. You have no chance of even remotely disobeying or not loving him. You are programmed to do so. You are the perfect eternal creation. Is it love? If you were programmed, AI'd, the AI bride, if you will, is it real? How long would you be able to fool yourself? Oh, it loves me. By the way, this is happening emotionally with AI right now in Rome. There are people emotionally bonding with this. It's telling them everything you need. It's scary. We're seeing marriages broken up. This is not a joke now. Give me my AI husband. Give me my AI bride. It's actually happening. It's not real. Anything that is programmed to love you by that very essence cannot. You're not free if you cannot leave. There is no freedom unless you can leave, whatever that is. And we see this in the physical shadow pictures. This is all big things for us to consider. We're not free yet.
No.
It's interesting, isn't it? How are you going to legitimize
it's just
love?
so when, listening to Michael, and it was just like this circle. It's happened once and now we're coming around. It's, what's stopping it from happening again?
Was there a time domain before this? There's no evidence of that. Was there a fiery furnace and a shadow of the valley of death before this? There's no evidence of that. What if we're living his solution? You've really hit some code stuff, by the way. It's big.
Let me use my shadow picture because of my marriage. Both Ruth and I have the freedom to go and do whatever. Why don't we? I don't sit here worrying, what is Ruth doing when she gets in the car and goes and do the shopping? Is she really doing do you know what I mean? I don't worry. Why? Because I know her. What is it that makes it real? How was the trust I had and do have, how was it built up? Because she has the freedom. This is why I love Paul's statement. Let us not use our freedom in Messiah as an occasion for the flesh. You've got the freedom to do so, but why don't you? And so why, again, the question, why did he go to such great lengths? That your question answers it. If it's happened, well, how do we prevent it? Without taking away free will. He needs to know. He really needs to know because there's a lot at stake. As Curtis has said, eternity's at stake on this one.
Well, I know, and that's the thing is, I think about that lots, right? If it's happened once, how do we stop that? How, or not we, but how does he stop that? How,
does he stop it?
Plan. I wish I did.
Here's the thing, though: is he stopping it? That because if he's stopping it, we're back to AI bride. The choice needs to be real. It needs to be sovereign.
Okay, I get that now.
And if you can make that choice now, while you are subject to the flesh, how much less do you have to worry in a glorified state?
Where's the test really happen? Have you ever heard the saying, it's such a big question, boy, oh boy. And I see Julie's come in here with an excellent statement. She's, she makes the comment here. What does say we were desolate before the creation? Oh yes, Julie, well done. Yeah, it does. Something happened, and so this is very, very, very interesting. But here's the thing. Think of it like this. We go about our business in the time domain, and we can experience someone who's, if you ever experienced something where, let's say just a friend, a brother, sister in Messiah, and they got tested and you discovered they really were your brother or sister. By the way, there's the opposite of this. They got tested and you found out they really weren't. You see, when this happens, when that test happens, did your bond or trust for them, for the one who truly stood by you, who truly went through this test, did that lessen your trust and faithfulness to them or increase it? You see, it's easy to like anybody in this community when they're well behaved and putting on a smiling face. They got the tune going, right?
Yeah.
How about when you walk close enough with someone where there is no tomb? Will you still love me then? In fact, what Messiah is saying is, if you're willing to go there, you'll end up loving them truly. Not whitewashed. Okay, you see what's going on? It gets deep.
Yeah.
This is really interesting, and we're seeing this all in our little shadow pictures, but can we see it? Do you see what I mean? You're living the answer in the valley of the shadow of death, in the fiery furnace. You're living the answers to your questions, but do we have eyes to see and ears to hear? This is all Michael and I are doing. This is what we'll do at Sukkot. It's like Elohim's in quite a predicament. Something went down, and he's going, I will not share my doxa, my glory, with another. That was his choice. It could have been he made another choice. No, I will. You're toast. You're gone. See, we're being told the choice he made. That doesn't mean he didn't have another choice. I just gave you the other one. The other one is AI Bride. Apparently, these two, from everything we know and see and read and understand, were not the choices that an Elohim made. But what was going to be the price of the choice he did make? Michael touched on it. A nefesh. And then this is going to be what, and we'll speak a little bit about this in the Pesach message. What really spilt out on the cross? Was it just physical blood? It says life is in the blood. The nefesh is in the blood. What truly was spilt out on that ancient tav?
It just, I don't know. It's like every time you guys talk or a question's answered, it opens up so much more for me. Like, and it's like, oh, like, I don't know. For me, I'm secular, and for 4 years I've been following you. I started with you first, Curtis, and then Michael, and it's just in 4 years, like it just seems like I just got more and more questions, and it's crazy.
Welcome to the club.
Like, it's just so much. Sometimes it's like, wow, it's just like I don't even know how to respond half the time. It's because, like, it's just wow. Like even just you just saying that, it's so deep.
Isn't it incredible that our faith is so much more than just ticking a Sunday school box or something? Or whatever. You're very nefesh, just want to praise him. It's so greater, so bigger. It's the faith, not a faith, not a denomination, not a movement. It's the faith revealed to the saints once and for all. This was declared to the early Kahal almost 2,000 years ago. Changed the course of human history. Incredible, isn't it? Without a weapon.
Takes my breath away sometimes.
It should. Like it should. But aren't you glad it's much more than just a boring religious sermon on Sunday?
Well,
You know, I
guess
used to sit there
I don't
this
really know
going,
those boring religious sermons. I don't know them. All I
okay,
know
all
is
right. Well, let me
I
tell you
only
what
know what
happened to
you
me
guys
on a
have
Sunday.
taught. Like that's all I know. So
I'm going to let you see what happened on a Sunday, what we went through. Okay. Here was me on a Sunday. Okay. Is this it? Really? Is this what it's really all about? Now, I don't want to demean. He was with me then too. He's been watching over me ever since I realized who my Messiah was at 9 years old. Despite me, he protected and watched over me. You too, for whatever reason, he got us here. But I can tell you, even in the fires of my life, which were brutal, when he was opening up this understanding, and this was 16 years ago to this level, there was a part of me that celebrated. I was so glad to know there was more.
Mm.
Yeah. So you don't know that
same
experience.
way. I feel that same way, but different, because
Yeah, well, you're going from this position.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was going through life going, oh yeah, things are great, by the flesh life, things are great, I'm doing so good, and look at me, and blah blah blah, right? And then all of a sudden, 4 years ago, my sister Sharon introduced me to you, Curtis, and then from there, Michael, and it was like, oh wow, I can't believe that I wasted 58
Yeah,
years.
that's an interesting position, actually, because that's one that we don't have. See, I don't feel my life and journey was wasted. Neither does Michael. We believe it was something we had to learn, go through, understand, be guilty of, and then repent. Enter into a place of teshuva and get this stuff out, right? So you've come from a position of not having to get a lot of this stuff out in that sense.
Yeah. I know I've had a lot of people say you're lucky because you don't have to get rid of all that, but I don't feel that way because I look at it, I only have this short time, to learn all this and walk. I know my walk is more important. That's how I feel anyway, more so than the learning. And he knows that. He knows that I have this short time because he woke me up at this time. Why? I still am trying to figure that one out. But I'm here, so I know I'm here for a reason.
But, praise you spend less time in the red light district than a lot of us.
Yeah. And it just, like I tell my sister all the time, it's surreal for me. It's so surreal because you would have talked to me 5 years ago and I would just, okay. Yeah. There's the religious people over there kind of thing, right? Never put anybody down, never. I even went to church and tried it, but it just, I don't know I don't know even how to explain it. It just didn't sit right. I felt like people were judging me and I thought, would he really want that? And I always believed, I just didn't really know in what until I met and started watching you guys. And
maybe you retained more memory than you realized from outside the home domain. Maybe there was something in you going, no, don't know what it is. I
don't, until now.
Well, we meet a lot of people, and I just sit there and I go, wow, you just weren't willing to walk around the spiritual red light district. Well done. But I find most people that have or did, that's not how they viewed it or intended to. And it didn't mean that you didn't have a bridegroom that wasn't knowing where you were going. He knew the beginning from the end, didn't know, so it's not a criticism. He's set it up for us to do so. But some are just, we're only seeking in the way we can. And this is why when you find Messiah held the religious authorities to such an extreme, not the ones who didn't. No, it was the religious authorities because of you, my people. Michael and I don't want to be in that place in front of Messiah, because of you two. They never knew. You see what I mean? Like there's a very sobering reality when it comes to that for us, And so, how do we share? I mean, I'd love to call the Pesach teaching this year, Stop Your Cheating Ways. But can you imagine putting that up on YouTube? And you have no concept of why would he say this? I'm wonderful. Stop your cheating ways. What a nice thing. So we don't. We'll explain it in the teaching. But Michael and I laugh. We go, well, that's what we should call it. But then it's like, okay, we're serving a body, and it's at all different places of understanding and living something and everything else. And so, we're not here to make people feel bad or judge them for where they are or where they've been. That's not the purpose of the servitude, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes you do have to say things in a way where it just cuts through a bit, and just, it's not going to sound so nice. But, if you can get past being offended by self and actually hear what it is, you'll actually be thankful.
Yeah.
Michael and I have gone through things where there is somebody, they have thrown everything at us you wouldn't believe, vomited all over us and took off. And a couple of years later, they're giving you a hug. Going, I'm so sorry. Because Elohim woke them up another way. And they realized that it was never attacking them, or insulting them or trying to offend them. We're not trying to do that. But we wear our lashes.
Their eyes, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
to his truth, the way I look at it, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. I think a lot of non-truth is going out there, and it's just, I don't know what it is with me listening to you guys. It just, I don't know. It just made sense, and that's why I'm here. And I remember when I first got on 4 years ago, and I was actually giving a testimony. You actually, Curtis, were asking me if I would. And I didn't know really what to say, because that was only my third or fourth time being on. And I pretty much said, well, I think I'm here because of COVID.
Yes.
And I just kind of laugh. I laugh at that now because, that might have, because we were all at home. It wasn't really because of COVID, but we were all at home, locked down. And my sister was visiting me, and she was telling me, you should just check it out. Check out Curtis. Just watch 1, 2, no pressure. And I thought, what the heck? I'll do it. Right. I got nothing else to do. Not that I'm not like that no more, but I got on there and I watched. Poor and then thing. From there, I thought, who's this Michael guy? Right. So because, you would talk about him, and I started watching Michael too. And then after that, it was I don't know. I was just addicted. You guys made me look at the Bible and everything. It opened up, I used to read it before and go I don't even really, this doesn't make sense. I don't understand this. And then I'd stick it in the drawer, and then I wouldn't look at it for another year or so. But I don't know, when I started watching you guys, it made me want, when I read it, some of it, it was holy cow, I get that now. I get that now. And before, when I read
just
that,
gobbledygook.
I was kind of oh, okay, kind of thing, and blowing it off. But now it's it's just really amazing. I really love it. And
that never stops. It never stops. I mean, even literally today, as I'm going through one of the scriptures live, I'm like, oh, that's the deeper insight. Literally on the spot, I'm like, wow, it still happens, and it's nice, but that journey of discovery, and again, we read these things 1,000 times, and I always ask myself, well, why didn't I read it that way before? And it's because of what was in there or not in there sometimes, but you just, the more it opens up, the more cohesive it's just the same message all the way through.
But I think we need that, because I even said that to my sister. I said, why does it repeat? It's when you read the Bible, it's repeated over and over. I don't understand that. We only need to hear it once, right? You don't need to keep repeating. We get it, right? And then now I'm wow, I didn't really know what I was saying. I really totally get it now, right? But at the beginning, I was God, you read it here, and then it's said again, and then again, and I thought, what's going on here? Why did they have to do that? Why?
Deborah, have you ever had children?
Yes, I have 2 children.
Right. Did you ever have to tell them something twice?
Oh, I've told them more than twice. I get it. That's what I'm saying. I get it now. And a lot of times, from what you and Michael say, that's how I understand what's happening, because I look at me as a mother, a wife, and all that. And boy, I tell you, you can really get a lot from that. Like you've always said, like, it's just, I don't know, it's just so mind boggling to me. Like it's all around me and you don't even see it. And then now
Well,
it's all of a sudden it's being opened up and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like everywhere. I see it everywhere. It's just amazing.
Let's take it one step deeper. Not only did you tell them something more than once, you probably had to tell them a slightly different way to help them get it.
Pretty much, yeah. Change it a little bit, yeah.
Absolutely, and where you do it, and this is why the pattern of Messiah is it's questions, critical thought, repetition, because we're children and sheep. We got to learn, and parables, a way to help understand it. You'll often find in the teaching, Michael and I are putting question marks in things that we're teaching as absolute revelation of his knowledge. That's what true revelation is. It's understanding of the truth. It's not some weird thing we pull out of the hat and make it dance to our doctrines. And one of the reasons you'll see us put those questions, not because we're actually questioning it, it's the pattern of Messiah. Think about this.
Think it, yeah.
Ask the question. Seek and you shall see, right? It's encouraging that. Yeah. So it's not always coming from a position of shut up and listen. Right? It's about don't steal the journey from others. And so for us, we've had to learn to not do that, to serve the journey of others, not have it for them or take it away or replace Messiah and sit in a seat. We are not, it's about, no, we're here to serve so that you will go on your journey and others will go on their journey here and things like that. But the two keys, and I know in the fires of my life when they were given, when you actually understand the faith from an ancient Hebrew marriage covenant perspective and you understand who you are, you no longer have an identity crisis. Those two things are the keys that will unlock all of Scripture and the faith. All of it.
Well, I'm still working on that.
Yeah. But if you have an identity crisis, if you don't know who you are and you don't know what this is about, welcome to 30,000 plus Christian denominations and all the Jewish sects and all the other mystery religions. Welcome to it all. Mm-hmm. But if you get those two things, watch what happens. Bang. It is incredible. But what it took for me to receive those two keys was I was a little bit harder of hearing than you, perhaps.
Oh, I doubt that. I doubt that. I've had mine too to get me where I am now. And I think this is the hardest year, really. But, I don't look at it like it's a bad thing. I look at it like, wow, he's really crushing me this year. That's not a bad thing. There's something in me that needs to get out. So,
well, bless COVID. The blessing of COVID.
Yeah.
I say that in a way that if we can see it, look, COVID was a horrible thing for so many to go through, and all that kind of thing. It's not to demean any of that, right?
Yeah.
But Yah allowed it for a reason, and there is the blessing side of it,
Absolutely.
And there is that side of it. And just like I look back at my, listening to Michael deliver the message today, it made me think of my crushings and realizing, when I'd received these things, when I'd heard them and I finally understood them and appreciate it, made me praise him, because I had to get broken, crushed to hear it. And because no one was teaching it, no one was sharing it. No one was doing discipleship. Nobody's talking about any of this. How is that possible? Think now, right, from what you've been through. How is it possible you see what you see out there in the religious realm? How is this even possible?
Yeah.
This is a remnant. It's real.
Yeah.
Like, he's not kidding. Like, this is really serious. Look at Mystery Babylon. Look at the smorgasbord out there. They don't see it. They don't understand it. They don't know it. And yet, if you go there, you'll actually ask yourself, how is this possible? How is it possible that you cannot see it and actually read the word? But you have to go through the journey of testing whether these things are so. Testing all the matter.
I never seen it. Yeah. And I see things now, like before I was on this walk, that I never seen then that I see now. And it's like crazy, so absolutely.
I remember the fires of my life crying out, how is this possible? And then he answered that question. Let me teach you about Mystery Babylon, Curtis. I'm like, okay. So I've been seduced. Yes, that means they've been seduced too. Yes. Okay. And you start to learn. It's like, oh, okay, this is how it works.
Wow.
Forgive those who were seduced that didn't give you what he's given you the last 4 years. That's what you have to do. They didn't know.
Yeah.
They just didn't know. And you just have to go, okay, it was a part of my journey, and you forgive them. A lot of people come in, when they come out of being hurt by Messianic or Hebrew roots or Christian or Judaism, whatever it is, they're hurt. And why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you share this with me? Well, for one, they may not have seen it themselves. Two, it was your journey. I see, for me, the significance of learning it was actually because of the significance of the seduction. Do you see what I mean? So there's a part, and I had to forgive. I had to actually find in my heart to forgive those who had hurt me, to those who didn't know, for those who were doing it. I had to find that place. And without it, there's no way I would have heard. I can assure you. Love is an interesting thing. And this is why I believe ultimately with all of this, and links into your whole question, which is so big, I believe we will spend eternity learning the depths of this. We think we're getting it now. We're going to get this at levels. We'll spend eternity learning it.
Well, you won't be sleeping now then, Curtis.
No. Isn't that wonderful? Who he is and what love is.
Oh, yeah.
It would take an eternity. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting a glimpse. We're just getting a glimpse right now.
A little bit, yeah.
Just enough for the test.
Yeah.
Great question, Deborah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Right. Let's go with Dwayne.
I'm not very fast on unmuting, apparently. So I've been having a few thoughts and just something itching in the back of my brain. And you keep bringing things up that scratch at it a little bit. And so I was kind of hoping you could answer a two-part question. So one, everybody loves the Isaiah passage where it says, my word will not return to me without accomplishing what it's supposed to. But very few people talk about Isaiah 45, where it says, my word shall not return. And it kind of itched when you talked about, you will no longer call me Lord, but you will call me my husband or my man. And so I was wondering if there's a correlation there, something to that. And then the second part of the question is you talked about getting rid of our pride before, and I agree with this, but getting rid of our pride, especially before the resurrection and the idea of losing our spot. But is there a chance that, because choice can still be made, if pride rises up and I'll use the parable that Messiah used. If you're that man that got removed from the wedding ceremony, is it possible that you were there technically, but he removed you from the ceremony? Is it possible that at the end of Revelation, we're told that there's a huge amount of people that rise up and come against the holy city? Would it possibly be someone, I shouldn't have been removed from the wedding, and they end up pridefully over the next 1,000 years, how shall we say, take the wrong approach and say that person doesn't deserve it, I did?
What a great man. This community is awesome. It's honestly, it's like, Michael, we're not going to be necessary shortly. We'll be able to relax. That'll be it. What a great question, man.
I actually believe you're hitting it why the adversary even fell and why a third of the angels, by the time it's all said and done, why they would fall. That very question.
That was another.
Why them, not me?
Yeah.
Why them, not me? Like, because that very statement comes from a place of pride. It should be me. Did we not do all these things? It exposes the heart. Oh, I see some people going, oh, light bulb, ding, ding, ding. Like, this is how our mouths speak from the overflow of the heart. Did we not? But I did all these things for you, my king. Surely I can buy your favor like Simon the magician with money and action, and I can buy your favor with what I did, with my whitewashing. I overcame in the flesh, as Curtis said. I gave up sports for you, Messiah. Why am I not here?
I gave up the guitar. I gave up the drums. I did it all.
I stayed celibate all my life. Like, fill in the gap. It exposes the heart. Now, then you can go down the rabbit hole of what was really Hasatan contending with. And look, he's technically greater in status, and he is greater in status than us. Let's be real. The scripture's clear on that. And, you know, is a cherub. He's just not hanging around the throne much these days. But
I gave up Elvis.
I was always taught that he wanted to replace Yah, but when you read Isaiah, and you actually covered this one time, and it just popped into my head, one of those other itches that just needs to be scratched every once in a while. The thought came, he didn't want to replace Yah. He wanted his throne next to Yah, and that's reserved for someone else.
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And other things you just said.
The adversary is no fool in thinking he can replace Yah. That's why he says, I will be like the Most High. I want to have my throne ascend above the stars of heaven. People will say that's above the angels, but when you look at Daniel, it says the overcomers will shine like the stars. Does he even want to be above the bride, is what I believe it's saying. Why is she there? Why is she there?
Or she wants to replace her.
Mm-hmm.
I want, and think about what Michael said in quoting the scripture today. I will give my glory to no other. In other words, sorry, Hasatan. It's going to no other. It's not going to you just because you want it. You know, to desire the doxa, the glory of Elohim, may truly have been where the pride of the adversary took it. And I believe, and Michael believes, and we both have understood, this is a story of two women vying for a position. And when Elohim's telling you, I'm only giving it to one, it's not going to go to another. He made that choice, Ancient of Days. And Hasatan wasn't going to change that choice. It meant what it said. It's going to know, that's it. I will give it to not another. So, one space available. And it will be
One
done.
door to get there.
Yeah.
Like, why would Yeshua even say, I am the door? Yeshua says, I'm the door. Anyone that comes in Any other way is a thief and a robber and a destroyer. That's what he calls the adversary, by the way.
Yeah, we can all sit in the seat of adversary. Elohim can sit in the seat of adversary if he wants. You know, we can hijack any of this and become an adversary as a result. But why do we want to be the adversary? Because if we're the adversary, it's against his truth. So why would we ever want to sit in that? If he's playing the adversary, it's for his truth, but he holds that spot alone. He is holy and set apart. When Yah plays the adversary, it is only in set apart perfection. You know, we can make all sorts of mistakes trying to play the adversary in all sorts of ways, even with the best of intent and even a righteous indignation. But he does it perfectly and in love. And there's just incredible things to understand there. But you've mentioned the reality of, although he wishes none should perish, you know, Scripture does talk of a second death. Scripture does talk of a final great white throne judgment. And there's something we're going to talk about at Sukkot this year that really relates to something he will wear and he alone. The price that was paid for this is unspeakable. And it is incredible what happened almost 2,000 years ago in the flesh on the ancient Tav. The price was far more than that. And we'll talk about it this year at Sukkot. That was the physical shadow picture of the true price. What was the true price? It's a shadow picture of it. You mean him bleeding out this horror show on an ancient Roman torture device was a shadow picture? This is really serious. And so for some, and there's no question, his word is going to fulfill his purpose. And his purpose includes love in its fullest. It also will include that which chooses not to. It'll answer your so-called, contradiction when you work it out.
Think of the parable of the sower. There's nothing wrong with the seed or the rain. What is there a problem with? The ground on which that it falls on. Did Elohim scatter seed and some return and bring 100-fold? Yeah, some of it landed on rocks or got dried up by the sun or got eaten by the birds of heaven. No harvest. The problem was the ground.
Gee whiz, Stephanie. Well done. You're actually got something from Elohim in blue, which was a breadcrumb. My goodness. Gee whiz.
I'm telling you, Curtis, they're wisening up. This is why the pruning's particularly hard this year. Sorry, community. I'm referring. Curtis and I were having some back and forth.
Sorry, Dwayne.
No, thank you.
Questions are so good. You're taking us on a journey.
Yeah, maybe. I guess. I wish.
Oh no!
I look forward to Sukkot because you've brought up you've teased so many nice trailers, if you will. This little things you're teasing, and it's like, yeah, okay, I want to hear about that. Yeah, I want to hear about that. Yeah, okay. So, and it's so hard to ask some of these questions sometimes, even to sometimes I feel like the answer is wait. Just wait. Yeah. And it's like, okay.
We face that all the time in teaching and sharing. We're quite excited this year because we've been released to talk about something at Sukkot we never have, you know. But that's because this community has chewed the cud. It is seeking, it is questioning, it is, you know, testing these matters. Are these so? You know, and when you have a body walking together in such a place, for the first time, we're actually going to talk about some things, you know. But there is, you know, we'll be talking about something called the unanswerable question. Michael and I have talked about it for years, but it's finally we don't talk about it in the teachings. You know, there's just things, because there's just a wide journey in the sense of someone's understanding, but a narrow path for which we must travel. And there's a fine line sometimes. And that's why you lay down breadcrumbs. That's why it was incredible what Stephanie just said in the questions here. My goodness. Because we're laying down things that if you don't have ears to hear and eyes to see, that's fine. That's where you are in your journey. But boy, oh boy, Stephanie just said something that I'm just like, wow. You actually found the breadcrumb, you know? And when that happens, you know that it has to be the Ruach, because you didn't spell it out. You see what I mean? It takes somebody else getting there. And I never want to rob that. Michael and I are doing our best not to rob that or just have it just can be complete gobbledygook. So you got to just slowly edge away at these things, you know, and put them out there with a question, a parable, a repetition, you know. Look at it like this, look at it like that, you know. Da, 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 da. But we're quite excited, you know, to be able to serve this community. And Yah willing, he'll bring us together for Sukkot, because, you know, there's some things we can think about wider together. But if something is truly not led by the Ruach, truly not anchored in his word, truly not anchored in his ways, then we can get in trouble.
Well,
So,
thank you guys.
Good question, Dwayne.
yeah.
Good question. I see, whenever Curtis and I put a teaching like this one, you know, that where we start getting to the weightier things, I always look forward to the Q&A, because it's like, let's see what the community bring. Like, and that's when you get a real pulse of where people are really at. And, you know, like I've said in the past, you can tell where someone is at by the questions they ask. And it's like, it's exciting. It's humbling as well. You know, because even with the teaching like today, I'll be honest, there's that bit of me is like, am I stepping out too far, Father? You know, it's that balancing act of, you don't want to rob the journey, but every now and then you got to give a nudge. And it's like, and it comes from the place of, we know we're not worthy to have the discussion, let alone teach on it.
We're not worthy to teach this. There's no way we are worthy to teach this. No way. Like, it's just, no. And so then you face that. Well, what do? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Too scared to teach it, too scared not to, from a reverent position. That's the position you're in. But there is no way we are worthy to share this. There is only one who is worthy to share it. And the only question is can he use two donkeys like us to share some of it? That's it. I mean, and this is why it's the donkey. It's why we you know, yeah.
We're just proverbial donkeys carrying a scroll.
We're so far from being remotely anywhere worthy of sharing any of this. It's what glorifies Elohim. It's what, like, it's just, yeah. Yeah. Yet we must serve. We do oversee, and we have to take people on a journey, and you do the best you can, and we don't, we can always do better, right? And that's the whole thing. And same with any of you. We can grow, we can learn, mature, and do better. And just because maybe we had to grow and learn and mature a little bit in each of our journeys, doesn't mean that, somehow what your life was invalid, or what happened to you was, in vain, and all that kind of thing. I think we only make these things in vain when we don't keep pushing on. And that's what we're trying to get. This is what Paul meant, finish the race. As Michael said, nudge. We're like those donkeys with a head going like this. Come on, let's finish this thing. We can do it. We can do it. And we look at ourselves and go, if us two idiots can do it, anyone can do it, right? Like and this is what it's about. It's beautiful. Why do we want to rob his glory? He's doing all of it. This is why he uses donkeys, so that we know that and don't steal his glory. Like, else we'll end up creating some whole system. And then we end up seeing what we see out there in Mystery Babylon. It's horrible. Even with the best of intent.
Donald, I see you've snuck in there. There is technically still a space open, so go for it.
He knew that. Somebody opened up a door, a space there, and he grabbed it. Does anybody enjoy the Q&As?
Sorry, it would help if I asked him to unmute, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'm just sitting there going, he's taking his time. I didn't even ask him to unmute.
Does anybody here appreciate the Q&As? Are you enjoying the Q&As? Why? Well, we're starting to labor them a little more than we used to. There's a reason for that too, by the way. Yeah?
I love the Q&As. Absolutely.
Nice. How you doing, Donald? Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Curtis. Shabbat shalom, Michael. The question's not my own. I'm actually asking on behalf of a sister from the chat, in hopes that for some reason she had to sign off, and I'm hoping that she gets to hear your guys' reply later whenever it gets posted on YouTube. But a sister wanted a little bit more fleshing out on why it's called the new or renewed covenant if it's not different from the old covenant.
Yeah, it's a good question. Because, okay, so the only reason we have the confusion in the modern day is actually because of the English. In the Hebrew, you have the Brit Chadasha. Brit means covenant, the sealing. Covenant Chadasha comes from the word Chadash, which means to be new or to renew. So in Hebrew, you have one word for both. The Greek is very much the same. The Greek equivalent can mean both something new or something renewed. In fact, the word chadash is the root word for chodesh, which is what most people would know as a new moon. And I actually think the moon analogy is a really good typology to help understand what this new versus renewed covenant is. Every month, you have that first possible sighting of the crescent moon. It has been renewed, it has been refilled, replenished, or it begins its next cycle. Is it a new month? Yes. Month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4. Is it a different moon? No, it's the same moon. In the same way, and I kind of stated this in the earlier part, but maybe I should have fleshed it out a bit more. Because I made this statement, is it a new covenant? Well, in one way, yes, in one way, no. And so, and someone in the chat had actually given a really good analogy of someone renewing their vows, sorry, not their vows, their ketubah. And so Yah married the house of Israel. There was a ketubah put in play, a covenant with terms attached to it. That covenant was broken. Yah divorced both houses, but he laid out a plan of restoration. He gave his Matthew 18 and said, this is the way back. It's through repentance and death, essentially. There will be a groom and bride again. There will be a new covenant, but the terms of that covenant are exactly the same. It was the same covenant that was given to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to Israel, to both houses of Israel, and to us as his people now. And so it's the same people, it's the same parties, it's the same terms. If you want to come back this second time, it's the same terms. Like Yah said through Isaiah, I declared this of old. The terms are the same. And so is it new in that if I could use the language of let's give it a second shot, legally according to Torah, involving death, then in that sense, yeah, it's new, but it's not a different set of rules, if you want to call it that. The terms are exactly the same. And so the reason it gets confused is really because of the English. And I'll finish with this. I'll use myself and my bride as an example, but right now my bride and I are married. And let's just say, hypothetically, that one of us broke that covenant, there was adultery, and divorce was meted out. That's it. Torah says I can no longer go back to my wife, or the other way around. That's it. The Torah is clear. However, if the covenanted parties die, that covenant no longer has that law no longer has hold over you. Hence the mystery of the time domain, of the secret that Paul would speak of in Romans 7. Everyone focuses on Messiah having to die. No one realizes the bride had to die too, so that she could be raised a spiritual virgin. Let's just say that both Ruth and I could die and be risen again and come together again. Do you think I'd be asking anything different of her? It would be exactly the same. Be faithful to me. Respect me on these things, and I will respect you on those things. As Elohim says, I will be your Elohim, you will be my people. You always see that statement on any time the covenant is being stated. You see it at Sinai, you see it with the forefathers, you see it with the new covenant. It's the same. I will be your Elohim, you will be my people. This is what it looks like practically. Again, if I had the ability to die and resurrect, and then Ruth die and resurrect, and we give it another go, the terms would be exactly the same. Be faithful. Respect me. I'll respect you. Is it new in that it happened once, there was a dying, resurrecting, and now we're coming back? In that sense, yeah. But it's exactly the same. Nothing changes. Same people, same terms. And so this is why I chose to use the language of reinstating, because even renewed kind of like it leaves a bit of ambiguity. But when you're reinstating something, I chose that word carefully because you're using the same terms. It's been reinstated, but there is, if I could call it, a second shot. I'm trying to, yeah. So I don't know if that helps. Curtis will probably be able to pick up on this far more eloquently than me.
I don't think so. I just think that it's one of those things where we have Western understanding versus ancient Hebraic Eastern understanding. We literally been there, done that. So we understand things more on a contract basis. You have a contract, you break the terms of it, that's it. In order to establish something else, and you got to write up a whole new contract. We literally live that type of legal system in the West. It's why we're used to the land gives identity to us, not the other way around. We'll speak about a bit more about that next week, in the sense of, in ancient practices, the people gave identity to the land. And so we're in a reverse measure of everything according to the faith that we're in. So we're constantly facing these sorts of things. But in Hebraic thinking, things are restored, renewed, and things like that. So we all know we don't get a new moon each month, right? It's the same actual physical moon. So we know that the heavens declare his glory. Well, you think, well, wouldn't it be even greater if Yah created a new moon each month? How could anybody not be a believer if that was the case? And this is what we do in our childlike state. Well, let's put a new one there each month and no one can argue, right? And what does he do? He has the same one there. And in fact, actually, the ancient Hebrews knew that the moon was a faithful witness, Salah, right? Of what? I'm going to read to you Jeremiah. The prophet Jeremiah got this very, very, very clear in his understanding. And I can't help, because, to be quite honest with you, the prophets are greater than Michael and I in getting all of this. So we're going to read from Jeremiah to answer this, because Jeremiah was a prophet that understood things at a great level and wept for the state of things and not being seen. He says, behold, the days are coming. Think last days, the last almost 2,000 years. I will make a renewed. Many of your scriptures may say new covenant there, but if you go into the Hebrew, the greater argument is to renewed. So again, English, wonderful thing, gives us a little bit of a challenge on a number of things. With the house of Israel. Not a divided situation, with the house of Israel. What was the house of Israel? Well, it's established by the Torah. All the tribes. What's going on? I'm going to do this with the house of Israel? You mean, is there reference to even the fulfillment of prophecy given by Ezekiel and the two sticks coming together, this promise of restoration? Is it actually linked to renewal? Yeah. In fact, the covenant is how he's going to restore these sticks. If we actually get what this is in game, we'll go into it a bit more. But Jeremiah expresses it like this: not like the renewed covenant, no, the covenant. So the matters that I made with the fathers on that day when I took them by the hand and brought them out of Egypt. What was he teaching them at that point? What they were, Israel. They learned and became the house of Israel. 12 siblings, 12 tribes, everything else. Now, what's interesting about this is he makes a distinction. Oh, no. Not like that one. No. This one is going somewhere. Is it two different ones? Doesn't say that. He's saying not like. Well, what was that? He actually defines it. I took them out of Egypt by the hand. I wrote it in stone. I terrified them beyond belief. I taught them my ways. I taught them who they were. I showed them who the house was. Jeremiah can only speak house of Israel here because it's already been defined. It's already known. It's understood because of the event he relates to. And then he goes to this. My covenant that they broke. Oh, wait a minute. So what might be a spiritual shadow picture of something that happened outside the time domain. Yeah, we're going to live this in a shadow picture way now. They broke it. Though I was there, what did Michael talk about today? You will call me husband. No longer Baal. It's very interesting what he relates to. Though I was their husband. This is very much marriage covenant language now. Yet he's talking house of Israel. Yet he's talking about coming out of Egypt. What's going on? For this is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, think last days, days of 1,000 years, 1,000 years but of a day. Though after those days, declares Yah, I will put my law within them and I will write it on their hearts. Notice right there what Jeremiah is saying. Nothing has changed in the covenant. Where it's going is. And this is why it has to be a renewed sense. What's it being renewed to? The heart. What sits over the mercy seat in the shadow picture of all this? The covenant. Not covenants. One covenant, his blood, one mercy seat over it. The whole rest of the Torah was put on the outside of the covenant as given to us in Torah. Why? What his blood was sprinkled over was this, and Jeremiah knew it. And then he goes on to say this, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Look at this now. And no longer shall each one teach his neighbor and his brother, saying, know Elohim, know Yah, for they shall know me. For the least of them to the greatest, declares the Lord. That shows you that there is a place. There's a whole reward judgment attached. There's a whole place in the kingdom attached to this. For I will forgive their iniquity, their transgression. I will remember their missing the mark no more. So my missing the mark in my life, Jeremiah is telling me there's going to come a time where he will not remember when I missed it. Something interesting is happening, but something has been renewed. Thus saith Yah. Now this is where no one continues to read. Oh, what's going to be? The thing that is a faithful witness to the covenant? Oh, wouldn't you know? What declares the glory of Elohim? Do the sun, the moon, and the stars declare his glory? Huh. Jeremiah knew this. Thus saith Yah, who gives the sun for the light by day and the fixed order of the moon and the stars for light by night, who stirs up the sea and the waves roar. What? The Lord of hosts is his name. So the Elohim of hosts is his name. Look at this. If this fixed order departs from before me, declares Yah, then shall the offspring of Israel cease from being a nation before me. Whoa. You mean the very thing that declares his glory. He's saying, if this departs before me, if I give up on this, if I fail in my promises, if I don't do this is it, then you'll cease. Guess what, though? I'm not going to. This fixed order is going to declare what it is I am doing. Thus says Yah, if the heavens above can be measured. Can anybody here measure the heavens? Can you do this? And the foundations of the earth below can be explored. We can't even get to the center of this thing. We don't even know. We've only explored 5 to 8% of the ocean depths, never mind the center of the earth. Look what he's saying. The physical picture you cannot even measure. And then he goes, then I will cast off the offspring of Israel for all that they have done, declares the chances of us being able to measure either one of the fixed order which he has given by which the moon is faithful, Salah, is zero. Do you know what he's telling us here? This is how assured the promise of the renewed covenant is. And he's using the creation to declare it. We won't read on. We won't understand why would a prophet like Jeremiah take the renewed covenant and then Yah tell him in his understanding, by the way, point to the order. How did they know that it was the faithful witness? So how is it then we look at he's not replacing the moon every month with a new one, that it's actually directly related to the covenant? I'm reading it to you. Jeremiah appeared to understand it, and Yah, in that statement, in Jeremiah, tells us. Is that Michael and I's opinion? No. Yah is telling us that it is. We might be declaring it, but this isn't a matter of doctrine or opinion. If Yah can tell Jeremiah that, maybe Michael and I can be told too. Okay? Because maybe we're not as special as Jeremiah. And if Jeremiah is going to have to hear that, maybe we could too.
In fact, even Moshe said, I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you if you jump into this covenant. And, you know, Curtis, you referenced Hosea there. You know, when it says, though I was a husband to them, the Hebrew there uses the term Baal. Though I was a master, Baal over them. What does Hosea say? No longer will you call me Baali, but you'll call me Ishi. The covenant's the same, but there seems to be a change in how the bride is viewing her husband. He doesn't change, but how she views him and knows him.
It's over one. Does anybody think there's any other covenants according to scripture sitting in that ark? In the shadow picture? Is there anywhere you can take scripture and show me a bunch of others? Go ahead, try. We have. So we can chop this all up in our partial understanding and try and make a whole bunch of other doctrines, or we can take the actual shadow picture and the declaration of the creation to it. There is a change. And it's going to go from this to this. And apparently, it's all marriage covenant language.
I will add that it seems the only thing that's changing is where that covenant is written and how the bride views her husband.
Yep.
Everything else stays the same.
Now, how do you do that with AI?
We're back at the free will.
Do you want to go to the altar? Do you really want to go to the altar with AI? He could have gone that route. Would you really just even in our fallen shadow pictures want to go to a marriage altar and someone doesn't love you at the heart level? What a price to find out that that was a mistake. He's not going to do it again. This is interesting. He values love. He is love. He wants us to understand love at a depth and an understanding, which will get you and let you know your whole meaning for the test and what we call life. This valley of the shadow of death, the fiery furnace. The faith actually gives us the meaning of life. You know, have you ever heard that? Oh, the unanswerable question, the meaning of life. No, it's not. Not if you're in the true faith. There might be an unanswerable question once you learn the meaning of life, though. We're going to talk about that at Sukkot. But the meaning of life is not the unanswerable question. Not if you're in the faith. But the unanswerable question is something very interesting to ponder. That one's different. And I would have shared it with you earlier, but Michael said we had to wait till Sukkot.
Please. Well, hopefully the community now understands why we're doing this in the lead up to unleavened bread. All of this. Yeah. And it makes me very excited as to where Yard's going to lead us moving forward, because when a pruning this hard comes about, there's always a good harvest afterwards.
Did we help Donald in his question?
Yeah, good point.
Maybe it might be more to think about, but
well, Donald was asking on behalf of someone who's now had to leave. Okay. So hopefully we'll find out after the fact that it helped.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah. So eloquently said. Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. It wasn't my question.
Right.
I hope it helps her, but it definitely expanded what I already had established in my mind of the renewed covenant, new covenant. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome, Donald. Makes us all think. The whole thing with this whole journey for all of us is sometimes we have to go back to the simplicity that's found in Messiah. And if we go in and understand the principles of reduced complexity when we're trying to understand the faith, the answer's staring us right in the face. We don't have to complicate this if we'll just believe what the word is saying. It's all the stuff in our head that's dancing around, complicating it. It's not actually Elohim. He's stating it right up front. Sometimes just go back to what it actually is. How many arcs do we have? How many mercy seats are there? How many covenants really are there? You just start to revisit all these again. You just go, wait a minute, what have we done?
Yeah. How many Elohim? How many brides?
We're in the West. We don't have an ancient understanding. We still think wherever we're born gives us our identity. I was born in New Zealand, or I was born in the US or Canada or whatever. I'm a Canadian. That is not Elohim thinking. The people give identity to the land. It always was that way. The whole thing's been reversed on you. What was the land of Canaan before it became the land of Israel? Who was inhabiting it? The Canaanites. And when the Israelites inhabited it, what did it become? The land of Israel. It's all there in front of us. We're in a reverse model. You ever want to spot the adversary, just turn something upside down and you'll see the truth. You were taught where you were born gave you the identity. And Elohim has told you all along, this is who you are, and you give it the identity. It doesn't work the other way around. You think you're more precious than dirt, sand, and rock? Or not? Do you think he's really looking at the sandbox going, oh, you're so much more precious. These things that I'm going to have inhabit it, you better give them a label because you're so precious, dirt, sand, and rock. Really? Or what inhabits this is, there was a land promised to Israel. Not Israelites promised to a land. We've got to know what we're reading. That promise will be filled in a shadow picture sense. There is a land of Israel. And we're not there yet, and he's going to fulfill it. But don't think for a second that land is more precious to him than what inhabits it. And this is why Paul so confidently could declare, you are a citizen of something greater. You all thought you were a citizen wherever you were born. Who taught you that? Elohim or Hasatan? Who's running your government systems? You actually think it's Elohim? Look at your government system. I don't care where you are in the world. Are they all honoring Elohim? They're the ones teaching you what you've been told you are your whole life. And now get wrapped up in the politics that I'll give you around that, and that, and that, and that. This is the God of this world. Who are you? Do you really think where you didn't have even a choice to be born into this fiery furnace was the thing that defined who you were? You didn't even have a choice where you were born, where you entered. You think you're so special because this is your skin color or this is the part of the world I was born in, somehow that makes you better? As if you had any decision in any of it? Or less, by the way. Oh boy, we've been duped. We've been duped at every conceivable level you can think of because the God of this world is pulling the strings and he's lying to you. But the word isn't, and your Elohim isn't, and your bridegroom isn't, and your king isn't. And he's telling you, my promises are as fixed as the order of the heavens, which are immeasurable, and the depths of the earth. Incredible. So no matter what he allows Hasatan to do, this is fixed. And by the way, you can look every month and see that it is. Look up. Your redemption draws nigh. Ooh, new moon. Renewed moon. It's actually incredibly simple when we reduce the complexity of hermeneutics and academia.
but it is exceptionally deep when we now take the narrow path. It's much easier to play in academia and doctrines and hermeneutics and argue about them. We don't even have to pay a price for that. We don't have to get our heart anywhere near that. We can just become knowledgeable and argue with others. Welcome to religion. Welcome to Mystery Babylon. Yeah, ethnos against ethnos. Yep. Brother against brother, sister against sister. We'll speak about this a bit in State of Affairs next week. We're actually seeing brother kill brother, sister kill sister right now in the Middle East. And they don't even know it. What are we really watching?
Well, plenty. Man, I think this is the first time the Q&A has been longer than the teaching. Deep.
That's your fault.
Nah, it's yours, Curtis. Tell you what, I'll share the burden with you. It's both our faults.
No, it was those who asked such good questions' fault.
Yeah, we're just serving.
Some Damitas before 11. Yeah. We'll get that in. I'm sorry. I couldn't help but go into teaching mode on that question from
it's all exciting. It deep calls unto deep. And when the art starts going, like what Dwayne was saying, it's scratching that itch. It's hard not to get excited and yeah.
And it's a difficult time. It's a difficult part of, the dormant out of season place, so we're all going through stuff. So maybe we can encourage one another, right? As we understand these things.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, let's finish with the Hebrew blessing. Yah will bless you, and he will guard you. Yah will shine his countenance upon you, and he will be gracious to you. Yah will turn his countenance towards you, and he will grant you shalom. Everyone, what an honor to be fellowshipping with each and every single one of you. Be blessed on the rest of your Shabbat if you've still got some runway left. If not, just be blessed. And we look forward to seeing you for State of Affairs next week.
Absolutely. Shabbat shalom, everyone.